Ladies and gentlemen, fight fans all around the world. We're going to talk some boxing. I am what you need. If this is the first time you're seeing this channel, you like this video, you can subscribe. You can share this video. You can also comment right now. This is a live stream, and you can also donate via Western Union or MoneyGram. I'll give you the details of that. Just message me. We're talking Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury. Still, by the way, the pay-per-view buys for that fight were very, very high. Close to 1 million pay-per-view buys. It was one of the most watched boxing heavyweight fights in the last 2 decades. So that's really impressive. First of all, I was listening to Aki Sports TV as he was debating Professor Mims, and Professor Mims said something very true. I agree with Professor Mims. Tyson Fury in the United States couldn't sell a buck. Hardly anybody was attending his last 2 fights before the Deontay Wilder fight. Of course, the first fight did 350,000 pay-per-view buys, which was very good. And this second fight here did almost 1 million pay-per-view buys. Now, let me just say that I do think that Tyson Fury is almost the face of boxing already. He just needs a couple more really high-profile fights, and he's going to be there. But like Professor Mims, I do agree that Canelo is still the face of boxing. And Canelo has broken 1 million pay-per-view buys a number of times. And now that he's with DAZN and he's the highest-paying boxer, active boxer in boxing today, he definitely is the face of boxing at present. But Aki does make a good point about Tyson Fury. Now, if he continues fighting high-profile guys like Anthony Joshua, rematch with Deontay Wilder, and then starts taking down the top heavyweights in the division like a Dillian White, a Luis Ortiz, Pulev, Povetkin, Keith Hunter, the Ukrainian fighter, not Lomachenko. You guys know who I'm talking about. I can't remember his name. He was a cruiserweight undisputed champion. Him. If he starts adding those names to his resume, these guys who are really doing well in boxing today in the heavyweight division, Daniel Dubois, those kinds of guys, Joe Joyce. These are the outstanding names in the heavyweight division. If he can take those guys down, he is going to be the face of boxing. Okay. Now, Tyson Fury says he has 2 more fights on his contract, and then he's going to retire from boxing. I don't think that Tyson Fury should retire from boxing. This is my suggestion to him. First thing I would say is Tyson Fury needs boxing. Now, that leads to another point that Hasim Rahman talked about. He said that Tyson Fury actually, when he beat Vladimir Klitschko, was suspended from boxing for doping. And I still have to research that. Hasim Rahman was wondering if, again, Tyson Fury has been on some sort of PED when he was facing Deontay Wilder. What do you guys think about that? I personally can't really confirm or deny those claims. I do want to look to see he was suspended from boxing for doping, possibly using cocaine or some sort of enhancer to get his speed up. I would be surprised if that is not the case. I think that Hasim Rahman may be saying something that's true. And so, therefore, I'll check it out to validate it. You guys can actually leave comments on that. As to this occasion, him doping again, it is possible, but I don't know if that is true. I think Tyson Fury was trying to use some very controversial methods like masturbating to get his testosterone levels up. Testosterone, of course, causes greater bone density and also will help you with your punching power as well as your aggressiveness. I think, though, that when you look at the fight, there's no doubt in your mind that the strategy that Tyson Fury used against Deontay Wilder was an effective one. Which leads us to, again, Deontay Wilder's excuses. We're listening to Mayweather Boxing Channel. If you listen to the club and what they thought his excuses were just poor, that he should have just not made any excuses whatsoever and just look for his mandatory rematch, which is what he's going to be doing. You know, we know reports of Tyson Fury trying to pay Deontay Wilder exhaustive money to step aside so he could face Anthony Joshua next. Deontay Wilder's not having that. He wants the immediate rematch. And that shows that he has a hunger and a desire this time to face Tyson Fury. He's not as comfortable as he was before. Something that somebody from the Mayweather Boxing Club, actually I forgot her name, Layla Carter, was saying, which I do truly agree with, is that I think that he was with his girlfriend smashing her, and I think that, not girlfriend, sorry, his wife, and he's smashing her too much. And I think that's what sort of made him come out a little bit flat. But I think that I could see that. I could also see that that fight should not have been stopped, and I agree with Layla Carter again. I don't think that fight should have been stopped. A lot of people are saying it should have been stopped, and I just don't see that. I didn't think that he was hurt that bad that he would have the fight needed to be stopped. Tyson Fury was raining down it's raining down the rain on him. Don't get me twisted, but he was cognizant. He was also very composed. He wasn't taking a barrage of shots as people thought. He was blocking a lot of those shots, and he was also sort of getting out the way of some of them. And you could see that in that round, he was trying to regroup and get himself together. But he was taking a beating. Don't get it wrong. Tyson Fury busted up his lip, cut his ear, but he was not concussed. I don't think so. Some people were saying he was concussed. I didn't see him concussed. Even when the first knockdown that he got back up almost immediately after the knockdown. He should have kept his composure, got his legs under him after the first knockdown. The second knockdown, we could see he was tired from Tyson Fury weighing down himself on him, and got hit with a body shot. Didn't see that body shot coming, and he was already on his way falling down, and then he fell down. But you could see that he was regrouping himself and getting himself together by the other round. But I think that Mark Breeland did a disservice to him, and I maintain this. Mark Breeland should have at least warned him that you go out there and do something, brother, or else I'm going to stop the fight. Now, the person who was yelling in the corner wasn't Anthony Darrell that was yelling for the fight to be stopped. It was Andre Darrell, Anthony Darrell's brother, who was yelling to Mark Breeland that he should stop the fight. So it's just that Deontay Wilder got the wrong name. It was Andre Darrell who was yelling it out. And Andre was saying he was taking too much unnecessary punishment and he thought the fight should be stopped. I disagree with that. I disagree with Andre Darrell. Andre Darrell has a lot of experience in boxing. I just believed that that fight should not have been stopped. And I think Mark Breeland throwing in the towel, he threw it in too early. Now, a lot of people saying that Deontay Wilder could have gotten caught with something very severe and it could have been another Patrick Day story, which it's very possible. But at that point in time, he was very connective, and he was still in the fight. In fact, when the referee stopped the fight, Deontay Wilder immediately said, "What are you doing?" Right? And then he turned, he found out who it was, and he went straight to the corner to Mark Breeland, who threw in the towel. Now, to be fair, he was getting his butt kicked all around the ring, okay? But he was composed. He was still keeping his composure. He still kept his form. He didn't have his legs, but he was still keeping his composure, still keeping his form. Okay, and you know when somebody's really being rocked and the fight really needs to be stopped. It was the seventh round. Did Deontay Wilder win any rounds? Probably the second round, but other than that, I don't think he won any rounds per se. But he's been in this situation before, so that's why I was wondering if why did they stop the fight so early? And I thought it was a moment in which I just didn't understand it. And I think Deontay Wilder didn't understand it. And I think a lot of people didn't understand it who were following it. And again, I'm not a big Deontay Wilder fan like that. I'm actually more of a Tyson Fury fan. But I thought that fight was just prematurely stopped, which leads me to the other point. A lot of people were talking about not only Tyson Fury being doping as an excuse, but I think that a lot of people thought that Deontay Wilder was making poor excuses. And I think he just made a lot of poor excuses about the fight. But what we're hearing is that Deontay Wilder is looking for that rematch. And I just think that he was way more comfortable than Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury really was training, putting in the work. And Tyson Fury even mentioned this, that he thought Deontay Wilder was very comfortable, and he's thinking that he has his power and can lean on his power. And so he's training with his family with him and all of this stuff, which was not a good idea to have your family with you at that point in time. Tyson Fury did an excellent job against Deontay Wilder. Now they're talking about, I listened to Ashley Rapper and talk about how Deontay Wilder, to beat Tyson Fury, needs to step around him, keep the fundamentals, and use his jab. I'm going to say this. Tyson Fury is very quick as a heavyweight. He's very, very fast. Okay? Unusually fast for a guy at 6'9". It's not going to be easy to just step around Tyson Fury. Okay? His feet are quick. His hands are quick. Okay? So while I was speaking about keeping range and stepping around Tyson Fury, understanding Tyson Fury has the longer arms and uses range quite well, you have to understand that it's going to take Deontay Wilder to pivot. Pivoting takes away all the speed of your opponent. You don't have to pivot fast. You have to pivot in a certain rhythm, and that's what makes the difference. So if Deontay Wilder can pivot pretty well, that's what helps him to turn Tyson Fury. Now, there's another thing that I heard some people talking about, how would Tyson Fury hang with a Larry Holmes and a Muhammad Ali? And a lot of people are talking about Muhammad Ali and Larry Holmes would beat Tyson Fury. I understand what they're saying. I get where they're coming from in terms of boxing knowledge and pedigree and all that stuff. I get it. But there's a lot they're not factoring in. Tyson Fury is 6'9". Okay, Deontay Wilder is 6'7". These are giants. This is not just heavyweights. These are gigantic men. Okay, these men could be basketballers. They're huge. They're hulking. So for people to just say, just kind of wave off Tyson Fury or Deontay Wilder in terms of these guys facing, say, for example, Mike Tyson or a Muhammad Ali or Larry Holmes, is to really not be factoring in the size and magnitude of these guys. And then on top of that, they're not just tall and big, they're very quick. Okay? Yeah, they're special in that case. They're gifted in that regard. Tyson Fury is a very quick fighter, and so is Deontay Wilder. So when Deontay Wilder said that he would knock out Mike Tyson, I'm not even going to second guess that. I think it's possible he would knock out Mike Tyson. I'll tell you why. One, Mike Tyson is a small heavyweight. He's only 5'10". Deontay Wilder is 6'7", and he's not slow. He's quick. Okay, he's explosive. He reminds me of a longer, elongated version of Evander Holyfield. And as much as Tyson Fury was beating him up, he couldn't get him out of there. He could not get him out of there. What I mean by that is he could not KO him. He couldn't knock him out. Okay? In fact, Deontay Wilder performed better against Tyson Fury, a much higher caliber fighter, than Anthony Joshua did against Andy Ruiz. Now, they're similar kind of fights, except Andy Ruiz was no Tyson Fury. He's not. And therefore, Anthony Joshua didn't have to overcome reach advantage and height advantage and all those things. He was actually a shorter guy. Now, some people would say, well, the shorter guys, they would get in on Deontay Wilder and beat him up. Not really. Luis Ortiz was shorter. We had Bermane Stiverne. We had Eric Molina. We had a lot of short guys. Now, Eric Molina, Bermane Stiverne, they're slow-footed, okay? Luis Ortiz, again, slower guy. So I get what you're saying. Andy Ruiz, much quicker. I would love to see him against Deontay Wilder or Baby Miller against Deontay Wilder. That would really, truly tell us something. I think they give them problems. And I think Mike Tyson would give Deontay Wilder problems. But Deontay Wilder does have that hell of a punch. But then again, Mike Tyson did face Razor Ruddock. And he did face Bone Crusher Smith. These guys. Anyway. Hold on a second here. Joel Roland Renee. Shout out to you, John Roland Renee. Do you think the punch behind the head made a difference? It wasn't behind the head, first of all. It was behind the ear. You guys need to know boxing, man. Tyson Fury hit him behind the ear. There's a totally different. How? Okay. So behind the head In round number 9, Deontay Wilder hit Tyson Fury legitimately behind the head. It wasn't just behind the ear, it was behind the head when he clipped him on the top and the back of his head. Y'all don't say nothing about that. How come that didn't make a difference for Tyson Fury? All right? No, Tyson Fury set up the 1-2 and he hit him with a beautiful right hand behind the ear. And that's one of the places where your equilibrium is affected. Wasn't behind the head. That's wrong. That's erroneous. You got caught behind the head. I was in round 2. No, it didn't make that much of a distance because Tyson Fury began the fight very aggressively. He sped to the center of the ring. He had Deontay Wilder on the back foot from round number 1, and that was something Deontay Wilder didn't necessarily want to do. He hadn't prepared for that. And it's not that Deontay Wilder can't fight off the back foot. We see him fight Bermane Stiverne, Luis Ortiz. He was fighting off the back foot. It's just that he was forced to go on the back foot. And he wasn't very comfortable because Tyson Fury was closing the distance on him, getting on the inside, pushing him around and stuff, putting his weight down on him and headlocking him and all those kinds of things. Which, yeah, you could say bend the Marcus of Queensberry rules, but at the end of the day, he was roughing him up. And Tyson Fury decided to rough him up in a fight. He was physically strong for 270, and he was quick for 270. No, I think Tyson Fury just roughed him up and beat him up. He put it on him, especially in close quarters. He was roughing him up in close quarters and being the bigger man. John Roland Renee says, I don't see Wilder knocking out Tyson. Tyson's too quick on the inside. He can knock him out. Wilder's a smart guy. He's a counterpuncher. He can knock him out. He proved that in the first fight. But Tyson took his hardest punches in this fight pretty well. He took the punch pretty well. But again, he was also extending his jab, sort of taking off the steam off the punch by his shoulder being up. So Wilder, even when he caught him flush, Tyson would also roll the punch with his head. So all of these things are good and shows the fundamentals of boxing for Tyson. So Tyson was able to sort of deal with Wilder's punch as well. He wasn't directly walking through Wilder. He was, using his boxing skill, feints and so on, his jab to get on the inside of Wilder. Once he got on the inside of Wilder, he rough him up, weaken him up, soften him up. All right, whether it's he lean on him, bend on him, clinch him, let him push his weight on him, push him to the ropes, spin him around, rough him up. And while he's doing that, he's landing punches underneath his jabbing arm, by his rib cage, by his spleen. Rough him up a bit, with the free hand, he'd hit him while Wilder was clinching up the other hand. So it was those kinds of things that was going on in that fight. Yeah, so anyway, back to what I was saying. So Deontay Wilder, though, so yes, Tyson Fury versus, say, Larry Holmes or, Muhammad Ali, that's a tough fight for Muhammad Ali and Larry Holmes. It's a very tough fight. This guy can use his range very well. Those guys are not going to just get their jab in just like that. And then Muhammad Ali was an outboxer. He wasn't an infighter. So if Tyson Fury started taking the fight on the inside to Muhammad Ali, we know what the result would be. Muhammad Ali would get knocked out. Also, he'd get stopped. Larry Holmes could fight a little bit on the inside. So that would be an interesting fight. But Tyson's so much bigger than Larry Holmes, and you guys just don't factor that in. And he's equally as quick, if he's not quicker, And these are things that I think a lot of people are not really factoring in. Did he do that? Says Wilder has a book of excuses. I think it's just that his pride has been hurt, and so he's starting to say all kinds of ridiculous things. Did he do that? Says now Wilder fanboys are saying Fury was cheating. Yeah, I've been seeing that all along. Fury wasn't cheating. It's a fight. I mean, you can use rough ass tactics on the guys sometimes. You do it. Mayweather did it against Pacquiao. That's how he contained Pacquiao. And Tyson Fury smothered Deontay Wilder, and he also roughed him up. So that's what happened in that fight. Yes, people. So I just wanted to talk about that fact that, a lot of people saying, well, not Muhammad Ali, not Larry Holmes. You gotta really factor in that this guy has some dimensions, man, and he can use all his dimensions. It's not like he just has dimensions. He can use the dimension. The other thing I want to say about, say, for instance, Wilder and Fury and AJ. AJ's a lot slower than both Wilder and Fury. He's technically pretty good, and he's a scientist of the sport. He does what is necessary to win fights. but he's probably the guy that I have ranked third. But I put him second because he's got back his belts. Wilder don't have no belt right now. So Tyson Fury is the number one heavyweight in the world. Then comes AJ. Then comes Wilder. But Wilder is actually, in my opinion, while he's not technically a better boxer than AJ, I think Wilder in a matchup with AJ, 9 times out of 10 gets him out of there. 9 times out of 10. He knocks out AJ. And I think Tyson Fury beats AJ. So I think that, I love AJ and all of that. And he's an honorable guy and everything, but I just don't think he can handle the gifting of these two guys. Deontay Wilder is just very, very quick. And so is Tyson Fury. They're very, very quick fighters. They have quick legs and they have quick hands. And as a result of that, we've seen how AJ has problems with Andy Ruiz, who doesn't have quick feet and quick hands per se. He's explosive with his feet. He's not as quick. And he's a short guy, right? He's a small guy, short guy. He don't have the reach that both those guys have. And so the best 2 heavyweights in the world, we saw them fight. And we saw that Tyson Fury was just in another level, another class to Deontay Wilder. But Deontay Wilder has some power, some pop. I think Wilder's going to make some adjustments for the third fight. He definitely wants that third fight. He wants to get his belt back. It's not because I don't think he feels like he's taking Tyson Fury's best punches. He's taking the strongest Tyson Fury ever, and Tyson Fury could not knock him out, like a perfect knockout. What do you call a KO? He stopped him, but he did not knock him out. That's knock him down, and he didn't get back up, right? And the good news about this is Wilder felt he could go on. He was wondering why the fight was stopped. He's talking about, if I need to go out of my shield, let me go out of my shield. But I think he had a lot more to show in that fight. And unfortunately for him, the fight was stopped. So I get where he's coming from. As for Mark Breeland, I think Mark Breeland, he panicked. Honestly, I think he panicked in the corner. Andre Darrell was yelling, stop the fight, and he just panicked and he just went with it. I think Mark Breeland's a very experienced boxer. And a lot of you guys are not going to like what I'm saying because he's an OG and a very accomplished OG, and he knows what's going on in the ring for the most part. But I've heard Mark Breeland say some really dumbass shit, okay? He says some dumb things when he's assessing, fights, and they just didn't come to pass at all, right? And so Breeland's a guy, from Crunk Gym, so he talks about power and all of that, and he's a very soft-spoken guy. He's a really cool dude. But I think Breeland makes some really dumb decisions sometimes. And on this occasion, I think he just misread it. I think he panicked because Andre Darrell kept on yelling out, stop the fight, stop the fight. Andre Darrell was yelling that because Andre Darrell thought that he was seeing Deontay Wilder get really badly beaten when Deontay Wilder was not getting very badly beaten like that. Okay, he didn't have any serious injuries. Now, it could have happened that Tyson Fury put together a combination, and that would have been it for Deontay Wilder. It's always possible in boxing. You get caught correctly. And, Wilder wasn't all there in terms of his feet. He was collective in his head, but he wasn't collective in his feet. And he was getting tagged. So I get where, Darrell would be coming from. But again, I just didn't think that was going to happen. And I just truly believe that Darrell was also overreacting, and Darrell's a guy that overreacts because he had gotten nerve damage from a guy who had punched him when he was down. So I can see where Darrell's coming from and he's reacting from. I can also see where Mark Breeland's coming from, hearing Darrell yell, stop the fight, stop the fight. He just kind of jumped up. But Breeland, you're supposed to consult with the rest of your team. All right, you gave this guy a chance to go out in the 7th round. Yeah, he got his tail whooped in the 6th, but you gave the guy a chance to come out in the 7th round. So you can't be. All right, thank you for the comments. Thank you very much. All right, yes. So you can't be going out there now and just making these decisions on your own because somebody shouting in your ear. You don't do that, Mark Breeland. You don't, and Deontay Wilder realized this. And now Deontay Wilder's putting down the gauntlet when he shouldn't put down the gauntlet, saying, hey, man, when I go out there and it's brutal or whatever, and you can't take it, just take a walk. No. What he should have said to Mark Breeland was, Mark Breeland, listen, dude, do me a favor. Heads me up. The 6th round ended. All you had to say was, listen, man, I'm going to stop this fight. That's what Breeland should have told him. And he said, look, I know you say, I'm going to stop the fight. You have to show me something in there in the 7th round, else I'm stopping the fight. He should have said that to him. And he shouldn't have gone against Jay Diaz and the other assistant coach. He shouldn't have done that. And that's where Mark Breeland is wrong. Now, the good news is Deontay Wilder lives to fight another day. So he erred on the side, like referees err on the side of caution. But I'm going to say this, though, that Deontay Wilder is not ungrateful for mentioning that Mark Breeland stopped the fight too soon. He's not. He's just stating facts. I'm sure he loves Mark Breeland to death. Okay? And I hope he does not remove Mark Breeland from the team. But if he does, I understand it. Okay? Because Mark Breeland taught him basically everything he knows about that right hand. Mark Breeland, that's Crunk Jim. That's the guy that taught him what he is, made him who he is. So I hope he don't get rid of Mark Breeland. But at the end of the day, Mark Breeland must not be put in a position where he's just making these one-track decisions without notifying anybody. He didn't notify Wilder. He didn't notify the fighter. He didn't notify his team. You can't be making them kind of decisions. And then everybody be turning around saying, oh, no, Mark Breeland, you can't come in on Mark Breeland. No, you have to come down on Mark Breeland. You have to. And I love Mark Breeland. I really do. Hell of a fighter and everything. But you can't be making these kinds of decisions. And the only way I could see, because it wasn't a situation where Deontay Wilder was punch drunk or something, And I just think that he listened to Andre Darrell, who is not a member of his camp, is not a member of his team, when he should not have been listening to Andre Darrell. And he should be focusing on his fighter and actually not listening to somebody outside of the camp who's talking. And he panicked. And Wilder's just like, you could tell Wilder was livid about that. Okay. And so that's a credible reason for Wilder to say something, but he shouldn't have said something. He should have just kept it quiet and said, you know what, I'm going to get Fury back in the rematch. All right. And Wilder needs to make some adjustments in terms of his pivoting, which he can do, but I don't know if he can do it properly enough so that Tyson Fury, because Tyson Fury's got ridiculous foot speed, very good boxing IQ. So it's not going to be easy to beat Tyson Fury in the rematch. Definitely Tyson Fury dominated Wilder, showing a boxer, when you dominate, when a boxer dominates another boxer, in the third fight, it's going to even be more ugly. Because he's going to come in saying, you don't even belong in the ring with me. That's what you want to do next time. But Wilder could use that to his advantage since he's a counterpuncher. So we'll see how that all works out. But definitely I want to see a third fight. I'm in the unpopular opinion where I want to see them do the final trilogy before facing an Anthony Joshua. So the Anthony Joshua fight, I think, should be left for the fourth fight. I don't think that they should face each other right now in a third fight. I think they should face each other right now in the third fight and just finish it off instead of Tyson Fury going and facing Anthony Joshua next. That's just my personal opinion on it. Well, people, I gotta wrap up this video that I'm streaming with you guys right now. I'm gonna catch you guys later. Have a good day.